Grandmama would have said to you. Skye smiled. She used to tell me stories about Mariposa, and they were the most thrilling, exciting tales I have ever heard. Things have changed since your grandmother was here, Jimmy answered. But for the better, Skye flashed at him. After all, she and my grandfather were frightened of being killed by Indians. A poison arrow in the back was what they expected in those days. The result isn't much different from a gun bullet in the front. How you do go on. Just because there was a revolution here a year ago. There is always a revolution of some sort taking place in Mariposa, Jimmy explained patiently. That is why the country is so backward, and from what I hear, its present dictator has a very precarious hold on public opinion. So the shooting is due to start at any moment? Skye mocked. But why shoot me? I am bringing money into the country. You saw what a reception we had when we brought the yacht into the harbour. Nice fat American dollars, Jimmy. Nobody's going to be so foolish as to bump off the goose that lays the golden eggs. If I could stay here with you, I should feel differently about it, Jimmy said. But you know I have to leave for Valparaiso tomorrow. I know, and although I shall be sorry to lose you, I am really rather looking forward to seeing the country on my own. Does that sound very selfish and ungrateful? Skye looked at him from under her long eyelashes to see if he was annoyed, and then she laughed and held out her left hand in its leather riding glove. Dear Jimmy, you have been so kind and so patient, but you know I intend to have my own way in this, so really it's a waste of time arguing with me. I am afraid you always get your way in everything, Jimmy complained. Not really, Skye replied. I have had to wait until I was 21, for instance, to come to Mariposa. I suggested coming years ago, but my aunt was simply horrified at the idea. She thinks everyone who lives in South America, or in the North for that matter, is a savage. Hilda is a sensible woman, Jimmy said. I am extremely fond of her. So am I, Skye agreed, but you must admit that she has very little imagination, so different from my American grandmother. You would have loved her. I wonder. I am very English, you know, in some ways. One being that I disapprove of young ladies who, with too much money and not enough sense, go careering about the world by themselves. There speaks all my English relations, ancestors and forebears, Skye laughed. When you talk like that, Jimmy, I find myself being extremely glad that I am half American. All the same, you will be sorry one day that you have not listened to me. It was not surprising that he worried, he told himself, as he watched her. She was, in her pink, white, and gold beauty, enough to turn any man's head, and he had seen the bold glances her slim, sweetly curved figure just blossoming into maturity received from the dark-eyed Mariposans, with Spanish blood coursing hotly in their veins. The horses were moving forward down the incline of the hill. As they went, Jimmy looked back and saw over his shoulder that their escorts, 2 Mariposan boys who had been sent with them as guides, were talking together and pointing to the distance. Then, as he turned away, he heard one of them come cantering up behind. What is it? He inquired in Spanish. Excuse, señor, the boy said in his soft, deep voice, but it is best that you and the señorita should go no further. Why? Jimmy started to ask, only to be interrupted by Skye. We are going on, she said in fluent and beautifully enunciated Spanish. It is still early in the afternoon, and the señor and I wish to see the country. But, señorita, the boy started to say. That is what I command, Skye said imperiously, and, spurring her horse, she galloped off ahead. It was a little time before Jimmy could catch her, and when he did, they cantered for some way over the soft, springing turf, before their horses settled down to walk more quietly beneath the shade of some trees. Why did he want us to turn back? Jimmy asked when he could get his breath. Skye shrugged her shoulders. Maybe he wants his siesta, who knows? Or maybe he feels that we have had our money's worth out of the horses. But as I explained when I hired them, I need horses that can carry me all day if need be, and mine is certainly not tired as yet. She bent forward to pat the glossy neck of the beautiful animal she was riding, and then she looked at her cousin's face and guessed his thoughts before he spoke them aloud. You are sensing danger, Jimmy, and you are wondering what arguments you can use to persuade me to turn back. You need not speak the words I see trembling on your lips. I know exactly what you will say, and it's quite useless. In that case, I suppose we go on. There was a slight irritation in